Okay, Math 7. We are moving on to our next section, and this is properties of numbers. So this particular page is a really handy tool to look back at all the different properties. So we have the commutative property, we have the associative property, the identity property, and the distributive property. So these are properties, these are actually things that you guys have been practicing since you were little probably. Like, you guys know that you can change the order of addition in a problem and it doesn't affect the number. But you probably haven't known what we call that property. So like I said, these are very, very handy properties to refer to. So we're gonna do some examples and see what kind of problems, and I'll go back and forth here to show you what type of property we are using. So in this first example, our example here, the order stays the same. So 2, 7, 8, 2, 7, 8, and it's just addition, but notice the parentheses are in different places. So the associative property tells us that when we add or multiply, you can group the numbers together in any combination. So just by changing the spot where those parentheses are, it does not change our answer, and I'll just demonstrate that really quick. So this would be 2 plus 7 plus 8 is 15. And our other problem would be 9 plus 8. Well, 2 plus 15 is 17, and 9 plus 8 is 17. So it's true. And so this property, we don't have to prove that it's true in this one, but this property that we just used was the associative. Okay, so letter B, 25 times 1 equals 25. If you go back here, this is called the identity property. When you multiply a number by 1, it stays the same. When you add 0, it stays the same. So this is called the identity property. These are rules that you guys know, and you are just putting words with them. Okay, letter C. Notice this one is x times y, this one's y times x. Well, we know this is equal because of the commutative property. And if you look over here, that was the first example that I was talking about. Okay. Letter D. Now let's look here. So I have 2 times 6 times 1, 2 times 6 times 1, but this one has 2 times 6 first, and this one has 6 times 1 first. So again, this is the associative property, and this is the associative property of technically multiplication. Okay, this one. 3 plus 0 stayed 3, so it kept its identity. So this is the identity property of addition. And then the last one here, 7 plus 9 and 9 plus 7, they're equal to each other. This is that commutative property. And this is the commutative property of addition. Okay. So we are going to use these properties to simplify expressions, and I'm going to show you why we do that. So sometimes when I look at this, I would do something different. So for example, I would do 12 plus 18 first, and then add 19. And the reason I would do that is because I know that if I put those two together, it's going to give me a nicer number. So I just use the commutative property. I'm going to abbreviate that. So then I'm going to do this first. I'm going to do 12 plus 18 first. And that is called the associative property. And 12 plus 18 gives me 30. And then if I add 19, I get 49. So that last step was just addition. Okay, letter H. Similar type of thing. I would do 25 times 4 times 13. So I use the commutative property to move them around. Sometimes you don't have to use the associative, like, so this one, I'm not gonna use the associative. I think that you guys can, I'll just go left to right. 25 times 4 is 100, times 13 gives me 1,300. So that was the just multiplying. So there, I'm saying my properties. Letter I. I'm going to change the order of this one, so I would do like 16 plus 9 plus 21. Again, I'm exercising that commutative property. I'm going to go ahead and throw parentheses in this one so you guys can see how that would work. 16 plus 9 plus 21, and that was the associative property. Okay, so 16, and I did 9 and 21 because it gave me 30. 16 and 30 is 46, and I just added there, so just addition. Okay, this one here too, I would do 9 times 5 times 20. That's a commutative property. And then I would group them. I would rather take 5 times 20 first. And the reason that is because it's going to give me 100. So that was the associative property. And a lot of times you guys are going to get good at this and you're just going to do it in one step. But this would be 9 times 100. And that gives us 900. So this is just multiplying. So like I said, these are things you guys have been doing. You're just practicing. Okay, so now it says use the distributive property to multiply mentally. So this is a really fun trick because it allows you to do some multiplication of bigger numbers in your head. So the goal here is you need to take the number and you're gonna multiply it times two numbers that add up to 29 or subtract to 29. So I'm gonna use 30 minus 1. Would you agree that 30 minus 1 gives you 29? So the distributive property tells us that I can actually multiply each of these separate and then subtract. So 7 times 30, 7 times 3 is that 21, add the 0. And then 7 times 1 is 7. So 210 minus 7 is 203. Okay, let's do the next one. I would do 6 and then 50 plus 4. So 6 times 50 plus 6 times 4. 6 times 5 is 30. Add the 0. 6 plus 4, or 6 times 4 is 24. So your answer is 324. So if you can do those in your head, then you are able to do some mental math without using a calculator. So questions for you guys to think about. Describe 2 different ways to simplify the expression 7 times 3 plus 9. And then also explain how the distributive property can help you find 6 times 102 using mental math. Hint, it's like that. So I want you guys to think about those for later. Thanks.